If you've been following along with us in our journey here through Luke, and you're familiar with this account in the Bible, it's pretty obvious we're about to see a miracle. And we're going to talk about a miracle today, but it might not be the one you think we're going to talk about because this one doesn't even involve fish. Picking it up in Luke chapter 5, verse 4, it says, "When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, 'Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch.' Simon answered, 'Master, we've worked hard all night and we haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets.'" And the miracle I want to talk about today is the miracle that's occurring right before our eyes in Simon's heart. He's had an encounter with Jesus, and his life is going to be drastically different in a way he never probably saw coming. And that's what Jesus does to people when they have those encounters. We talked about it before, life change. That's what the whole thing is about. And going back to verse 4, I love the way Jesus tells him, put out into deep water. Because in the context of fishing, there's a number of reasons that he tells him to do that. And they're all contrary to what a fisherman would know at the time, where the fish are at that time of day, all that kind of thing. But I want to talk more about the metaphorical aspect of what he says. Put out into deep water. A lot of times life is like a swimming pool. There's a shallow end and a deep end. And most of us are comfortable spending our lives in the shallow end where we can just stand on the bottom, be comfortable, enjoy the coolness of the water, and have a good time. But there's a deep end of the pool that often people are scared to go to. Maybe they don't feel they're a strong swimmer. Maybe they don't know what's down there. And Jesus is saying to Simon, hey, push yourself a bit, go into deep water. Simon right now is Simon. But in the future, we'll find out that he turns into Simon Peter. And Peter, who is one of the primary apostles. And in fact, when Peter preaches his first sermon, 3,000 people come to Christ that day. So we go from a fisherman to what we're going to talk about later, a fisher of man. But even before we get there, just thinking about Simon and the fact that he said yes to Jesus, to go out into that deep water, to push it, that Jesus is going to teach him how to swim in the deep end of the pool. Not only that, one day he doesn't see this coming either. He's going to show him he can walk on water if you trust Jesus enough. So moving from that, going to that second part, that phrase, but because you say so. This is a case where Simon, man, he's a professional fisherman. I know you've probably heard this a million times, but he knows fish. He knows his boat. Every boat has a captain. He's probably it. He's got experience. He knows what's going on. He knows it's not going to do any good to go back out there and catch fish. But he says, because you say so to Jesus. And I love that. Because you say so. That's the focus phrase I want to land on this week for us. Because we all have those areas of our life where we think we know. We think we know what's going to happen. We think we know we've done that before. It didn't work out last time. We think we know that can't possibly happen. We have done all this stuff in our life and we think we know what's going to happen. But I tell you, it doesn't matter because when we trust Jesus, he's going to take it always in a different direction that we don't see coming. And again, this is the miracle I wanted to focus on this week because I've had that happen in my own life. I mean, it's great to say, oh yeah, Simon trusted Jesus and had this big heart change and all of a sudden he's a different guy. That has happened to me personally. When I went into church in 2013 and encountered Jesus, man, the thing he said to me is you can't do church the way you've always done church and expect a different result. Trust me and do it differently. And that's when I surrendered to him and said, okay, let's go. Show me what you got. And life has been an amazing journey ever since. I mean, it's just nuts, in a myriad of ways when you keep trusting Jesus and saying, you know what? I don't think that's going to happen, but because you say so, I'm going to do it. Or I can't do that, but because you say so, I'm going to try. I think about all the people that maybe, get asked to do something and step out in faith. And hey, would you tell your story over here? Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm not that kind of person. I can't get in front of people and talk. I can't do anything. Man, our talents aren't what make us get ahead. Jesus is the one that does it. We just need to do exactly what Simon's doing and be available. God needs us as people to do his work in this world. And we need to have more of that because you say so kind of faith. Because it isn't us. It is God working through us. So this week, as I close up here, I want us to do that. Spend a minute just thinking about that thing in your life. What is it that you think you've got figured out, but God is telling you something different? And I'd like you to just pray through that and spend some time with God about that, man, because you say so. Because you say so, I will do what you're calling me to do. It might just be a baby step. It might be a big step, man, but I look forward to seeing what God's doing in your life through obedience to him. So again, let that miracle happen in your life because God's going to take you places you could never dream of. We'll catch you next week on Wednesday Wisdom.